What's up, guys? It's your boy, the Badwolf. Alright, so in the last video I was telling you about how I finally got harassed and pulled over and the cop overstepped. Alright, so in this particular video I'm going to be talking about the fact that what he really wanted to do is he wanted me to admit to my address. Okay, and at the time I thought we could have talked this out real simply, real shortly, not arguing or whatever else, but obviously he was one of those kind of cops, right? He knows everything, Mr. Billy Badass, because he's got a gun on his hip. So what ended up happening is he got the VIN from out of the window, ran it, and pulled it up. And here's where I screwed up. Yes, even I do that sometimes. He was like, are you still at the same place? And I'm used to having people say residence or whatever else. And I said, everything is still the same, which in fact I shouldn't have said anything. Because once admitting to the address, because your passport, card, and book doesn't have your address in there because you're not claiming that as your residence, okay? Then that conveys a type of jurisdiction. All right, so you are in this residence, which I didn't agree to my zip code or anything like that. And even as he's talking to me, I just said I'm not answering any questions that you're not forcing me to. And unless you're forcing me to by gunpoint, I was like, which is under duress, I'm reserving all of my rights. I'm not doing anything I don't have to do, and unless you're forcing me to, because then that puts them in a situation where they're making a record of you saying this, or at least they're supposed to. And so if you ever do go down to the precinct, or the station, make sure that everything you sign is UCC 1-308. Do not cooperate with anything. This is not legal advice. This is just my personal experience and educational purposes. Make sure you say that, now, this is for people who are U.S. nationals. If you're a citizen and you haven't claimed any of your U.S. national side, yes, you have to abide by them. Whether you like them or not, good, bad, or ugly, that's what it is. Okay? So what ended up happening is, after that, we got everything settled, went and got in my car, paid the fee. If you watched the last video, I talked about how you should have your own vehicle registration and your title in there, all the necessary things like that to be able to prove that it's your car if it gets impounded. And you should, or if you don't have that, make sure you create your own affidavit with your car and vehicle's information and description on there, and then put it inside of an envelope, seal it. If you want, you can even mail it to yourself so that it's even more validated. And then that should be notarized, by the way, and then put into your glove compartment so that in the future, if you ever need it, you can prove that this is your vehicle, with your signature, a picture of you, whatever you want to put it also in there. So let's see. Okay, so after all that was done and said, I'm just kind of building up to this story. I know a number of people have asked me in the past to write basically like what I'm dubbing the chief of police court cop letter. Okay, lots of people have asked me, hey, can you get me out of the situation? I don't know what to do. What kind of letter should I send in? And for the most part, I've always refrained from that because like I said, I'm about prevention. I'm not really, trying to give people the ways. Now, in all these videos, there's ways and information to get you out of your situations, but I don't really condone. I don't have the time to write everybody letters, and I don't know your full situations, and it just takes up too much of my time. So I apologize for that. But I digress because of this personally happening to me for the first time. And like I said, of the 2 or 3 years I've been traveling in my vehicle, I found myself in a situation where now I had to put all of my knowledge that I've already used in other avenues and with other situations all into one letter, which will be down below. And it's called like I said, the chief of police cop court letter, which is different than the cop stop letter. The cop stop letter is basically gives you information, insight on how to fight your ticket basically after the fact. You've already signed it. It's already a couple of weeks in or whatever, something like that. So those are just tips and tricks to utilize if you're going to go to court. What this particular letter is for, and this particular video is about, is how to deal with it day one. Like you just got either pulled over in some tickets, you got arrested in some tickets, they towed your car in some tickets, things of that nature for a U.S. national. Okay, so I literally sat down and wrote up a letter that they don't want to get. Okay, so that will be available down below with the other ones, and it starts off by basically challenging jurisdiction. Okay, watched some other people's videos, and they were like, well, now that you're in court, do this. Now that you're in blah, 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 do that, which is what my original cop stop letter is for. This letter I wrote for me, and I balanced it back and forth if I was going to issue it. Now, I'm issuing this or allowing people to buy it from me under the understanding that this is educational purposes only. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not practicing law, even though technically anybody could use those words, but sometimes in court, especially if you're in there and their jurisdiction to use those, not such a good thing. So I try to shy away from those altogether. But you can call yourself an attorney in fact, because you're basically representing your estate. But I just like to say that I'm a study of. So yes, I'm a study of all of this, but this is educational purposes only. Can a citizen use this? There's enough information in this letter that the average citizen can utilize this if they retool it for their needs, and they should be able to get out of situations. But I can't promise you always will. I can't promise they won't try to come back at you, much like any of the information I present here. Even with your lawyer, they can't guarantee any of the victories, even though technically they do know how to get you out of those situations, but they take an oath to the bar to not do those things, but to play a volley, because you're in a court, right? What is a court? A court is a match. A match is between two opposing sides, right? So the person you hired is supposed to be on your side, but they're really on the other side. Okay, so it's a volley. They're just playing back and forth, and you're on your behalf, but they take an oath to the bar to not give away all the secrets. So you're going to walk away with less money and, well, something better than you probably would have gotten on your own, but not the best that you were really expecting. Okay, so anyway, so this particular letter starts off with challenging jurisdiction. You're going to challenge standing, and then I break it down into telling them exactly who I am, the definitions of being a U.S. national, all verbatim, all with the information of where it's found. And then I start attacking all of the things that personally happened, towing of the video or vehicle, the cop, was he properly trained in how to deal with a national, all these different things that were violations and the deprivation of rights are all listed in there. The whole thing is I think it's 5 pages at this point in time. You're also going after some of the things that, basically people don't know to ask for. You can ask for their foreign statement. You can ask for a lot of different things. Okay, so in this, I basically threw in every dirty thing except for like maybe attacking syntax on their files and forms and whatever else into this 5-page letter that gets sent out. So also in this, I attack that they have to respond back to me within 10 days. Now, by UCC, you only have to give them 3 days, okay? But in giving them 10 days, if you don't hear back from them, and keep in mind, it's 10 business days. So with mail, sometimes if it's within state, it takes 2, maybe 3 days to get mail. So it's a max of 13 days. And if you don't hear back from them in 13 days, by acquiescence, they have backed off, and they're going to drop it. Matter of fact, I've already gotten the letters back from them stating that, well, let's just say they're no longer pursuing anything and they've destroyed any samples or whatever else, because I also go after them for copyright infringement and mail fraud. So I put all that in there, and towards the bottom, then I kind of put a little more bite onto it and talk about, well, it's because you guys didn't know this or see this, or respect my rights, now if you pursue this, I'm basically going after you in a lawsuit, and it's going to total about $550,000. So $500,000 is where it's going to start. And these are my claims because I'm a private citizen. So in that, I'm literally telling them my UCC file, which I have. You can put your UCC file in there, and if you do a UCC1 against yourself, you should put in there that, which I have that form down below too if you want to get that and file your own. If you already know how to do it, great. But in that file, arresting me is a $500,000 fine. Duress, 25,000. Deprivation of rights, 100,000. Lack of being read my rights, 250,000. And you just name off all those things. So that's in my UCC file, which on this form you can put your UCC file number on here so they can reference that to see that you have a prior claim to that. Okay, that they don't like. Okay, so that's one of the things. The next thing is even if you don't have that, you can still put down your cost of time in there, especially because you're a national, so you're foreign to them, and this is what your time is worth. Okay, they've committed violations against you, frauds and felonies and whatever else. So this is what your time is worth. Your time is worth money. So that's all in there. So yeah. So anyway, but in order for this to be effective, you should be a U.S. national. I can't guarantee anybody anything will work. Like I said, just like a lawyer. But have these things that are in here worked for people? Yes. Have they worked for me? Yes. But you have to do one key thing especially. Okay, that's the combination of the fact. In previous videos, I told you guys that there were, to look up the UCC and find out everything about it. Well, in the UCC, you have a right to cancel any contract. Okay, remember, that's what most of these tickets and things are. So the immediate moment you're no longer either talking to them or in custody or in jail or you got your vehicle out or whatever it is, what you're going to need to do is take those tickets, write on their UCC 1-308 on there, mark refused, put your actual signature on there or your initials, and send them back to the proper people. Okay, so that's all in the letter as well. Once you send that back, that cancels their offer because that's what those are. Okay, so if you don't do that, you by acquiescence, you haven't challenged that, and now they're going to expect you because you've signed for these tickets, you haven't refuted them, to be at the court dates and to go through all those things. Okay, so all that information is in the letter, like I said. And once you return those, and it has to be within 3 business days. Okay, that's what you get. So business days are your Monday through Friday. Saturday, Sunday are not business days, and you have to also look out for holidays as well. Okay, kind of being specific on these things so you know. So once you do that, you've got 3 days, and then that's what's in there. So you put on there, this is being returned within 3 days per UCC rules, which are in the book, also in my file, and then mark that information on there, and you return all of them to the proper people, and that's how that is won. So if you want to curve or stay out of trouble, definitely mind the statutes, mind your speed limits, mind your normal things. You should have no problem. So this is kind of like, I guess, insurance for those people. If you don't need it, great. But for those people who want it and want to be able to have this in place in case that happens. Also with this, I just updated before really releasing it. I added a notary section on there. So what I would highly suggest is that you get the letter and